Gonna get into it. Welcome to the CrossFit Canada podcast, telling the stories of Canadian affiliate owners and coaches. And I have a myriad of OG affiliate owners today for our second podcast party. So what we're going to do first is introduce ourselves. And I think unlike Zoom, where everyone's screen is kind of different, we're just going to go from my right and around the circle back. So Paul, you're to my direct right on the recording. Yep. So for those who don't know, introduce yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Paul Macintyre, CrossFit Colloseum. Being affiliated since 2009 in the same location. Host a lot of seminars and certifications. Being CrossFitting since 2007, I think.
Fabulous, and just had Carolyn Prevost at the game.
Yeah.
So congrats on that.
Yeah, we made it back for a fourth time.
There we go. Very cool. Next to the right, Kevin, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Kevin Wood, owner of CrossFit Moncton, been an affiliate since 2008, CrossFitting since 2006. And I'm usually asked like a special question, so I'll just go with it. My favorite ice cream is orange pineapple.
Yeah, we were supposed to do question of the day, but I figured out of time's sake. But if anyone does want to throw one in or a fun fact, we can. And then directly below him, we have Nate from the West Coast representation. Nate, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Nate Beveridge, Hybrid Athletics, CrossFit Fraser Valley. I guess I'm one of the young ones here. We've been affiliated since 2011, same location, same thing. I've been CrossFitting since 2009, so I've competed in every regionals that there ever was, as well as every open, including the one that crashed that first year, right? Yeah, it's been great, really great ride, and happy to be here. And I don't think I've ever tried orange pineapple ice cream.
And taking a majority of the lion's share of the hair, we have Mr. Cristini to everyone's left there. Chris, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thanks for having me. I am the owner of Cristini Athletics, which is CrossFit Markham and CrossFit East Woodbridge. CrossFit Markham was our first one in 2010, CrossFit Woodbridge 2012. Just like everybody else here, we're OGs in the space, been to all the competitions, been to the games, changing lives since inception. So happy to be a part of today's conversation.
And I'm the young one of the group. I've only on my affiliate since September 2019. So really, I'm here to moderate this whole fun. So what we've done is I've gotten you guys together because I wanted to get some fun discussion about the three things that I think are moving CrossFit. And I should clarify this. CrossFit, I don't mean the organization necessarily of like HQ or anything. I know that is kind of a hot topic as we've been recording this, but still, I just mean kind of like the application of providing CrossFit as a product to we as affiliate owners. So lots of experience in the room, so very interested in your opinion. So what we're going to do is set some ground rules. Healthy and lively debate is encouraged. We're going to do, I have three items. We're going to do 15-minute time cap on each one. And when I say it, you guys, we're going to vote like first, like yes or no. Hand gesture effects. We'll turn that off, whatever that is. So we say yes, we are in. This is where it's confusing. Yes, we are in favor of it, meaning it's a good thing, or no, we think it's like, hey, it's provided or moved us backwards. Do you guys want to do you want to hit the ground running with the hot topic, or do you want to like ease into it a little bit?
3, 2, 1, go. Let's get after it.
Yeah.
Hot topic. Go.
So, something that I think, agree or disagree, I think screens have moved us backwards. So agree or disagree that you think screens, like where you will put your workout on the screen. So I'm saying, yes, I think it's moved us backwards. Who else? Yes.
Sure. We don't have a ton of experience with it. We don't use it ourselves, so.
We don't use screens, so I don't know. we still use the wall.
Yeah.
Okay, so then let's do this. Whiteboards. Are we all of whiteboard crews?
Yes and no. I have
Okay.
both.
So Kevin, you kick us off then. You're the odd one out. You kick us off.
I have 2 massive whiteboards glued to the wall, and then above both of those is a screen. So I still use both. And I see like we still have things like community events and other things written on the board. Our warm-ups change all the time, so we're always putting those on the board as well. But then on the screen we use level method for our programming. And so instead of writing out 6 different versions of the workout or 7 different versions, we just have a slide, and then we can cycle through those slides. So I see the value in both. That's why I kind of had like a middle thumb.
Okay, so for the sake of everyone else in the future, like in order for good discussion, we need to pick lanes. Okay, so you use level method. There's varying. So level method, my understanding is depending on where someone's level is or what there is, that will determine their variation of the workout of the day. Is that correct?
Correct. And prior to the screen, we used to write them individually on the board, and we were going through like hundreds of dollars of markers every year. So we're like, we can't keep doing this. So it was cheaper actually just to buy a TV and chuck it up for that.
Okay. Who else? So then the other 3, Paul, Nate, and Chris, you guys are all workout goes on the whiteboard?
No, I use the screen.
You use the screen? Okay.
Yeah, but I'd say it takes away from the overall feel of the original when we put stuff on the whiteboard, because we use it for a really long time. But when you're tracking the workouts and trying to see how the stimulus is affecting the gym overall, if you're just writing it up on the whiteboard, you're not seeing any. It's hard to track results, and then it's hard for people to track through and see where they're performing. So it's good on the programming, holding people accountable. Writing up on the whiteboard was great because people come in and say, "This is my workout. I scaled it. I did it RX'd, and this is my time," so people could see exactly what they had to beat. So there's on one side it takes away from the community, but on the other side it allows you to track and figure out if the stimulus that you're trying to get in the program is working.
And what system do you use, Paul? For
I use Beyond the Whiteboard.
Okay.
I think like hands down in my opinion, Beyond the Whiteboard's been around the longest. If I go into Beyond the Whiteboard and I go, okay, today I'm going to do, let's say Annie, or I'm going to do Fran, I can immediately see what I've done, where my results are, what the median is, what the above average score is, what the below average score is. And there's some outliers there. There's some people that enter their scores in wrong. But as a whole, I can see where I compare across the entire CrossFit community. And they have been in the space since the very beginning.
So do they have when I say they, Beyond the Whiteboard, do they have like a workout of the day projection that you can put on a screen, or do you?
Yeah. We project the workout of the day up on the board. So we write our own workouts. We write our own workouts, and we input them 2 weeks ahead of time, so they can go back and we can obviously check to make sure they're right. And then athletes have the ability to look at their workouts for the week.
Okay. Chris, how do you guys deliver the programming to the class, specifically in the room at either gym?
We track it through Fit Builder, which is similar to like SugarWOD and all those other tracking systems, right? It's the exact same way, just that they go on their phone, they input their scores. They can already see what people in the class that they have already done. But when they come specifically into the class, we use a whiteboard at our location. We have a screen at the top, but everyone's like, what? All the coaches just feel more comfortable writing it on the wall. And then they rewrite other people's warm-ups. Like, no, I want to do mine. They kind of like having that freedom. And every time we put it up, it just gets kind of lost where they're like, they just prefer out of habit, they have to write it on the wall. They just feel like the wall's not complete unless people are paying attention to the wall opposed to the screen.
Interesting. Cool. And Nate, what about you guys?
We use SugarWOD as our deployment method, and when we put the programming, we program ourselves. So I have a TV in the gym. We'll throw sports up on it in the afternoons or whatever, quietly in the corner, or the CrossFit games when it's on, right? That kind of stuff. So it's playing off to the side on the screen. But we have 3 rolling whiteboards. We have like 2 on the wall as well, but we have 3 that move around. Our space is 5,000 square feet, and we have like, there might be a hockey team over there and a class over here, or PTs. And so the nice thing for us is to move that board around depending on, there's 6 people in the class today, there's 12 people in the class this day. We're going to be over in this area a little more, that area. Coach might be like, hey guys, come on in real quick and bring the board right by where everybody's lifting so that we can, stay intimate and stay close and maybe touch on a couple of points they wanted to make and then push the whiteboard back to the side. We found when we did the TV thing, it was just too much like you're stuck in one spot. It may be not where we're lifting. We've got to leave our lifts to come over to look at the last thing and come back. So it was nice to have that. And then just to echo Chris's things, like we give our coach a little bit of flexibility to adjust warm-ups and adapt things. Coaches might want to write a couple notes. Maybe I want to draw a quick picture. Hey, like this is how you should look when you're doing the lift. Here's a little whiteboard stick man that I want you to look at, right? So having that flexibility and that moving center point really helps for us.
Kevin, you nodded a little bit there. Is that something that you guys do? Like, since you have the variations above, but you have access to a whiteboard, do you give the coaches freedom to play around on the whiteboard a little bit?
Yep, 100%. And we just did like Turkish get-ups a couple weeks ago, and I wrote out a little like explanation. I had all the 10 components of fitness, and it was like an interactive session with the class. I said, let's circle all the ones that you think the Turkish get-up will target in these 10 components of fitness. So I'm circling them as we go and crossing out ones. So I don't think that gyms should entirely get rid of their whiteboards. They're functional, they're useful, and they're a great teaching tool. So that's why we still have ours, is because we still use it almost daily.
And that seems to be the kind of theme, is saying like, hey, we are trying to, across the board in the room today, is we use the screens to make the delivery of the program a little bit more streamlined, but we still want some sort of a whiteboard effect to be able to go in from there. So Paul, if you guys are beyond the whiteboard, do people log their scores in a Beyond the Whiteboard app?
Yep.
So what do you do, or what have you do? Because I'm thinking of like, okay, like guys, we're gonna stretch. I'm gonna get everyone's score. Kevin, what's your score? Nate, what's your score? Paul, what's your score? Do you still have a version of that?
Yeah. So we still have a leaderboard.
But I guess the in a class setting where the coach calls out each person's name and they call their score out across the gym, do you have that anymore?
No, but we still have, we don't do that, but we still have a whiteboard, like Kevin, it says you're writing down, we're doing stick diagrams or anything. We still have a whiteboard. We still have access to that. We still use it. Coaches will change different things or change their warm-ups and that, but no, they don't call out their score anymore. We get them to input their score.
So what do you do with that last 5, 10, 12 minutes? How have you guys evolved that time frame?
How was this stimulus? What did you think the hardest part of the workout? What do you think the easiest part of the workout is? We'll ask, we'll say what the best time was for the gym. We'll throw that up on the board so someone has that to beat. But it's more interaction with the members, with the athletes themselves. How they felt about the workout, what would they have changed, why they should have scaled the workout, or why didn't they scale the workout?
Cool. So some general discussion points.
Yeah.
Chris, how do you guys do scores at the end of class?
We don't. We found that it started taking up a lot of time, right?
Okay.
It's like, waiting for people to run in, and I can't talk to the next person or help them out because I'm waiting for this person to come in, write their time, and then get that person. We found that a better use of our time is everyone inputs it on their own. This way, that it's not just on the wall that day. It's something that they can track. We can always look back to, how have the last 8 Mondays been going? You can track your progress. It seemed a lot more smarter for us to do that. So this way, it freed up those minutes in that hour. And it doesn't have to necessarily be how we're going to end the class. It could be we're going to adjust our programming as a whole that day, right? So this way, we're trying to, give better quality, better attention to them. So some days we might be doing maybe different programming, stretching out maybe the breaks, increasing the volume or the quality of the movement, like the technicality of the movement, or front load the time we're spending teaching the movement, or at the end, like exactly what Paul said. It just gave us more freedom to not just look at one aspect, like the end of the class. It allowed us to, depending on the day, adjust where needed to where we thought was giving the clients better service. Because then they're like, yeah, who cares if my coach is spending 5-10 minutes a day writing down my number that I'm not going to put in my book or track it, and essentially the numbers are lost, right? So it made sense for us to do what literally everybody else here is doing.
Cool.
There's people too who like aren't comfortable sharing their score or whatever. There's people who like, I mean, even with SugarWOD or Beyond the Whiteboard or whatever, we have that leaderboard so you can look at it, but not everybody puts their score in. We encourage people to do so for their own tracking purposes, but on those apps, you can also like ghost yourself or whatever. So like only your close friends that are linked to you can see your score, or your score is just private so nobody can see it. So at least you're tracking. There used to be people that like, I'd say, hey, how many rounds you get? Oh, 8 + 12. And you're like, cool. Like I got 6 + 5, but good job getting 8 + 12. I know you didn't. So kind of alleviate some of those issues that you ran into, not putting it on the board. And as much as we want to, like, I tell people like it's like golf. Only your score really matters, but you want to pay attention to other people's scores. And if I'm improving by 1 stroke a year and all you guys are improving by 2 strokes a year, I got to look at myself and see, do I not practice? Have I not had a lesson? Do I only play once a month? Like, how do I get better? And how do I keep up with everyone else if I don't know what everyone's doing, right?
Mm-hmm. I think I'm the lone wolf here. Is we still handwrite the programming on the whiteboard, and we still do the names on the whiteboard. And I mean, I think either way, it's like whether it's a screen or a whiteboard, it has to be a vehicle for some sort of purpose. And again, whether it's, as Paul's saying, like, hey, like we can get together, let's hop into a couch stretch and let's talk about the workout, or being able to educate. But I think it sounds like being intentional with those last 10 minutes of your class, instead of just kind of using it for free time or expanding out from there. We made a point of getting actually people's scores at the very end, trying to get people to stretch more. And that's been a great opportunity there. So with 90 seconds left on this topic, is when you guys had whiteboards, physical whiteboards, would you still write RX beside names? And that would be 100%?
100%.
Yeah.
People take pride in it, and people are, when they do it for the first time in RX, they literally let the whole class know, and we celebrate it as a whole. So writing it down was definitely something to be proud of. And if people weren't RX yet, that's okay, because at some point we were all in the same boat. And when it's time for them to do their RX workout, first one, we celebrate it. It's not just it's on their own. Like, I can't believe I'm finally doing RX. It's something to be celebrated, and we've all kind of gone through it and earned our stripes essentially. So writing it down was very important for us.
Yeah, you log in on the apps too, right? You click RX or scaled and make notes and stuff like that. I encourage people to make lots of notes, not just for themselves. Like when I post my scores, I read a book in there, and people are like, why do you write so much? And I'm like, well, it's for my own tracking, but it's also for you guys to see my thought process. How did I attack this? What would I adjust? How do I do that? So that they can learn from that, hopefully, and be like, oh, wow, that's interesting that he does it that way. I never even thought of that. I just thought you should go hair on fire and die in the first 90 seconds and try and hold on. It's like, no. Pull back just a little bit here, guys. Figure it out, right?
Sorry, Nate. So they had access to seeing your notes from what you wrote? or as the actual gym owner, like when you're posting the WOD?
No, so I'll make notes in the WOD, but I'll do the workouts too. So I follow the same program that everyone else does.
Yeah.
So I'll track my scores in Sugar WOD, and then in my score, like I put, 4 rounds plus 12 RX, and then there's a notes section, and I'll write a huge ton of notes. Like I'm a bit of a nerd numbers wise, so I'll be like, okay, the first section took me this long. The second section, like I try to remember those things during the workout, and then I'll say, should have gone a little faster on the kettlebell snatches, should have done this, should have done like a little bit of notes for how I attacked each section. I know that I'm good at double unders, so I really attack the assault bike going into the double unders. Maybe if you're not as good, you should slow down a little bit and get ready for those dubs. Those kind of notes in my score as an athlete, not like owner or coach's notes.
Very cool. 3, 2, 1, time on that topic. Yeah, I've members all the time asking, like, what did you call those? Like, if we do like a kipping pull-up variation, I'm like, you can call it whatever you want. They're your notes. Whatever's going to jog your memory. So this will take us seamlessly into the second topic, and it sounds like we're a little bit more varied on this one, and that's going to be programming. So it sounds like we've got some do our own programming. We have some program subscription followers. I think programming has moved us as a unit back. And now I'll caveat that by saying I follow CAP programming. So would you agree or disagree that programming services have moved us back a bit?
Yeah,
agrees, kind of agrees, kind of. Okay.
It depends on the person, I think.
Okay. So Chris, why don't you kick us off? What are your first thoughts?
We do our own programming, right? I know that if I'm a competitor of another CrossFit gym or someone doing something else and they're doing CAP and I'm doing CAP and we're all doing CAP, what separates me from someone who has 2 years experience as an affiliate owner from someone who's been around for almost 16 years? Not a whole lot. Again, they're not going to understand the difference of, like, say, maybe servicing them. But if I'm doing the same programming them as them, I think it's an opportunity for me to kind of lose what my branding is and my culture, right? I know my experience. I know that as we've been around for, 15 plus years, through our own experience of coaching, we have, 16 plus years of programming that we've learned along with CrossFit. I think there's a lot of added value from what we have, because to say CrossFit programming as a pure form of training methodology and not elevating it, in my opinion, based on my demographics, my space, my equipment, the size of my classes, the shape of my gyms, there's not a lot of specificity in me giving the best service to my members, in my opinion. I think that it takes up a lot of time and a lot of effort, but that 16 years of knowledge that we've been building, that will take someone else who just started programming that amount of time to understand the depths and layers that we try to bring for our members. However, if I were opening up a gym now and time is money and things are expensive, I'd probably just follow Mayhem or follow something else, because I don't know any different, because the members don't know any different. And I don't know any different, so I'm not gonna know what I'm missing out on, in my opinion, because we bounce it off a lot of times. Like, it would save us so many hours a month and save us time, probably short term. But am I doing what's best for my community? In my opinion, I would say no, because we don't have the same demographics as of everybody else, right? Age, backgrounds, like I said, equipment, gym size, blah blah blah. Seasons, you know what I mean? Someone who's coaching in Florida, someone coaching in Canada or Ontario, very different. Let's go for a 400-meter run. That's not happening. Right? It's like, okay, we'll just, use your rowers. Well, I don't have 20 rowers, right? I don't have a gym like Paul, who's got every single gym equipment ever made in the history of ever, right? So that's, pretty much one of the main reasons why we choose to do what we do, because, I think, we like to celebrate our differences in the branding we've, created over the last 15 years.
I'll echo that 100%. Sorry to jump in quick, but I was going to
Yeah.
mention the weather, like you said, but even just like, hey, I know we're busiest on Monday and Tuesday, so I want to front load some movements that I really want to get in those days. If we're doing a back squat cycle or snatch variations, this like, once a week for a month or whatever it is that we're doing specifically working on, I know the days that are busier. I know how many people come to this day, that day. So I know, I mean, it might even be like last minute. Hey, it's Tuesday, and all of a sudden it's been raining out here on the wet coast for 3 weeks straight, and it's going to be nice on a Wednesday. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to adjust tomorrow's program to add a run in there because we've all been cooped inside, and it's supposed to be sunny. Let's get people outside, getting sun on their face, and enjoying the weather a little bit in the middle of a WOD. And I can adjust. Now I know you could do that with like someone else's programming, but at the same time, like you said, I don't only have so many bikes. I have 5 bikes, or I have a room for 2 sleds. So I mean, I'd love to say, hey, let's do 5 rounds of 100-foot sled push, 25 cals echo bike, 15 GHD sit-ups, and some reverse hypers. Well, cool. As an individual athlete going to the games, training on your own in the middle of the day for 6 hours, that works. But 15 people running through a class, that's never going to work, right? So I could front end load, 200 feet of sled, 2 people at once, and everybody just staggers by a minute or whatever, so they get to at least touch the sled, and then move on to things that are barbell rower, running, burpees, things that they can all do, right?
Kevin, I want to finish with you because as the level method, you have a different perspective. Paul, what are your thoughts?
We've always programmed ourselves. We've looked at other gyms. We look at CAP a lot. We look at CrossFit, the main site workouts all the time before CAP. I think it's better to program for your own gym. If you're just starting out, yeah, sure, it makes sense to go and use someone else that's programming has more experience. But yeah, if you want to program for your gym and your affiliate and make people feel a part of the community, I think it's really important. And it also develops you as a coach. On Saturdays, we always do a team workout.
Yep.
And people plan it out. They're going to come on Saturday. They're going to do a team workout. It's pairs or 4-person on a team. So you're getting the community more involved. We get closer to the open. We'll do more open-based workouts, more open-based to get people ready for the open and get that hyped up. And they just don't always do that. And there's a lot of programs where people will look at and they're just doing way too much. They're there for, you're just an individual person coming and working out. You need to be in the gym for an hour, but there'll be people in there that are in there for 3 hours. And I go like, you're not going to the games. I hate to break it to you. So you need to tone it down a bit. Like we have people that buy programming from other gyms or from other camps, I should say. And I go like, your volume is way too high. You need to just tone it down a bit, worry about the basics, your growth strength, your applied strength, and then, work on, your gymnastic skills, and you're going to be a better athlete around the board and not injured. You need to program for yourself if you have the experience.
Mm-hmm. Echoing Chris too, like there's probably every other time I sit down to do a ton of programming, I think, man, this would be a lot easier if I just paid somebody else to do it. But then I just don't trust them as much to know my people, right?
Well, the other thing too, Nate, is you're gonna have to change your programming anyway. So if they program it like a 1,000-meter run, or everybody's going to be on a rower. I mean, Chris, you're absolutely right. I have a ton of rowers. I've got a lot of stuff. If road makes it, I probably have one of them. But the thing is that if there's going to row and there's 15 people in your class, not everybody has 15 rowers. It's not possible to do that, and you end up having to change your programming anyway. So while you think you might be saving money on the front end, on the back end, you're having to screw around changing it all anyway. So
yeah.
So I follow CAP, and one thing that CAP has done, I guess it's been a few years now, but when we receive the programming every Monday, there's the RX version, intermediate, beginner, and now they even have Masters 55 plus. There's all those options. All I do every Monday is go in and delete all of those options. They're still available in the coach's notes, but I think my issue with programming is it can allow coaches to take the easy way out. You know, Steve comes in, not your brother, he's really fit, but a different Steve comes in. Oh, you know, I guess I'm doing beginner today. And the coach is thinking, okay, well, that's great. You know, you already have your scaling options set. And now we're missing a little bit of threshold training there as well. So Kevin, I'm interested in your application of the level method, because the level method does prescribe options available. But, you know, knowing you and how much you care about the methodology, I'm guessing you put a little emphasis on your coaches to make sure they're still getting involved in doing some actual true coaching and not delivering a program.
So I've done my own programming since day one. So 2008 and onward, I've been inspired by other people's programming, like looking at CAP and CompTrain. And there were some gyms in Boston that I really enjoyed. Back Bay was one. So I've looked around and I get inspired by them, but I've still done my own programming. And when we started Level Method over 5 years ago, I needed to purchase their programming to understand the method behind the madness, but I still do my own programming. So now it's, you know, I'll create the week's workouts and then I'll go in and level out everything. So our coaches are still encouraged. We always talk about the workout, the intended stimulus, like the coaching aspect is still there. However, with everybody that has their own individual levels, there could be 10 people in class doing 10 different versions of the same workout because they're mixing and matching all of the movements that make sense for them. So it's not like there's 6 versions of the workout, pick one of them. There's 6 versions and you're going to pick multiple levels from each one. Mm-hmm. So there's no RX anymore. It doesn't exist. There's not even scaled. It's just what's the workout that's right for you. And we'll have that conversation with people every day when they come in. Like, yeah, I've noticed you've been kind of like holding back like that. I see people go grab a kettlebell and I'm like, no, I'll just yell it from across the room. No. And they're like, fine. And they'll put the light one back and grab a heavier one. Even if their level isn't that color, that's okay. I know that they can handle something a little bit more. So there still has to be that personal touch every class.
I'm curious.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead. Like we just have RX on the board. I'll once in a blue moon, I'll put an intermediate and a scaled weight or whatever, just because, and I'll say like, the reason I put this in here is this is what you're going to see at a competition. So those of you that are interested or whatever, now you have kind of idea where you're at. But like, so there's just one on the board, but like you said, there might be 10 people doing 10 different workouts. This person's not going overhead because their shoulders are buggered a little bit. So they're doing just the clean portion of the dumbbell clean and jerk. And to make up for that, we made them throw in some front squats that we wouldn't have had for other people. Or today a girl was even doing, so we just had lateral burpee box jump overs and toes to bar as the workout, 21, 15, 9. And I saw one girl doing V-ups with her feet on the rower seat because the hanging was bothering her shoulder. And a coach gave her that variation. And another girl's doing toes to rig laying on the ground. And 2 other people are doing toes to bar. And there's a toes to ring going on there and some V-ups. And that's just on our coaches to know their athletes and get to know them. And we didn't write down like, here's the 8 different levels that you could be doing that one thing at. Obviously the height of the box could be different. They could not even be like, my knee's buggered, I'm not going to jump over a box. I'm going to maybe do like a double push-up burpee instead. But yeah, that's on our coaches to know their athletes that well, that like we do a longer warm up and stretch and stuff. So you're like, hey, how's it going today, Chris? All right. I know your shoulders have been bugging you. What are we going to do for this variation? All right, cool. How about you, Tom? How about you, Susie? Right. We kind of work our way around and the coaches have that without writing the level method per se.
And it just gives us a baseline. Like if we have somebody that's a yellow runner and we're running, you know, multiple miles, if they can't run 400 meters under 5 minutes, they have no business running a mile. Like you're not doing that. So it just gives us a conversation, like we're all on the same page when it comes to this. So people are doing, it creates a sweet spot. People aren't doing things that are well outside of their abilities. And then 2, they're not doing things that they're less than capable of doing. So it gives them that sweet spot of progress, but also safety.
Yeah, well, even the days of like, oh, I'm going to RX today, but I'll just go really slow today. I'm going to RX it, but I'll go slow. Like those days, and that's, I think, what's important about these discussions, right? Is that's the beauty of the open source concept of CrossFit, is being able to find what works for everyone. And so with the last 2 minutes, one thing I'm curious about Chris and Paul, like, one thing I like about, to go counter to you guys, is using a programming like CAP forces me to get creative. So I try to think of outside of the box ways to do, like running, for instance, in the winter. We have a set gym space, but there's also a double hall where we can do a slightly bigger loop. We've played around with things like that. As well, if we have 9 rowers, today we have rowing and kettlebell swings. Well, the coaches now are challenged to figure out the way to appropriately distance everyone in time, not those days, PTSD. But it gets them thinking. So I had a coach just on Saturday after Fight Gone Bad. Hey, like for Monday, I was thinking every 2.5 minutes, do you think that'll work? He's like, cool. Now we're having good, productive conversations. So Chris or Paul, how do you guys still challenge yourselves to push outside of your boundaries for growth and in the application of the machines and whatnot?
So how do we try to evolve by not using CAP, or how do we?
No, how do you just, like, if so again, bikes, if you have 10 bikes, it's like, okay, I'm going to program this workout to facilitate the 10 bikes. As opposed to being like, oh, okay, I have 10 bikes and 20 people in class. How am I going to make this work?
You just look at the way, it could be email-based, partner-based, incorporate another movement to get the stimulus that you're looking for with that. Look at, why am I actually using this machine, right? Is it to get my heart rate elevated? Am I trying to have a certain power output, total volume of like calories expended? We look at those things to see, do we have to have everybody on it at once, or can we offset people? Can we have it every third round? So you have, 5 rounds of 5 different movements. You can have like 30 people, or 30 people if you have a rest with everybody going on it once every 5 or 6 minutes, right? So there's so many different ways you can move around with limited machines.
Yeah, like you mentioned Fight Gone Bad. Like for Fight Gone Bad, I technically have enough stuff to do 24 stations. So, but I would never do 24 stations. I would do like 6 stations and have 4 people a station. And you just might start on the rower or the box jump or the whatever. You're going to start someplace else. You're just going to rotate through. So everybody's going to get the rest, but you're going to be in a different place.
Mm-hmm. Or you just start them minute 1, minute 2, minute 3, minute 4.
Yeah.
If you want that direct stimulus, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Exactly. And so that's what I more or less wanted to hear. Not that I'm trying to, but I think that's the main thing, is thinking about maybe sometimes some newer affiliate owners and coaches read a workout and they think, I have to facilitate this thing as black and white as it's written on the board, when realizing like, hey, people aren't necessarily always here to do a CrossFit workout. They're here to improve their fitness. And so that might take moving around a little bit, a little modifications, some changes, things like that, even on a benchmark workout like Fight Gone Bad.
Quick touch on that. It's something that I actually had to learn, because I did the program. I've done it all along. I might have had a specific vision and stimulus that I was looking for exactly, and I didn't clearly portray that to my coaches. And when I came in, maybe I didn't coach early that morning. I come in at 8 o'clock. They've already run 2 classes, and I'm like, oh, shoot, I really wanted the machine set up in this variation, and I wanted you to go from here to here to here to here. You guys screwed it up. Well, I didn't portray that to them clear enough, but also, like, I'm upset about the fact that people didn't get exactly what I wanted them to get, but they still got a great workout and the coach did an awesome job. So I've done a better job over the years of like letting that go a little bit. But even just like, oh man, I really wanted it to go from like the skier to the rower to the totem bar to the bike, and I wanted them in position to do that, and you didn't do that. It's like, oh, that's on me. I should have been a little clearer on that or whatever, right? But even though they had to go zigzaggy to get there, it was still a great workout. They still had an awesome time. I needed to learn to let that stuff go.
Cool. Okay. last one here, as we get close to the overall time cap. I'm curious to hear your guys' input on memberships. So I think, so the thought was that having limited memberships, meaning being able to come twice a week, 3 times a week, some places do 4 or unlimited, has moved CrossFit backwards. I'm going to disagree. I think limited memberships are good. Disagree. Paul's unsure. Kevin?
So say it again. So the limited memberships are good or bad?
Limited memberships. Well, again, the topic of the overall podcast is limited. Some will say that limited membership, like Jason Ackerman, Prime. I love that he knowingly puts things out to get discussion going. He says limited memberships create limited buy-in. So I would disagree with that to say that limited. Okay, so we're unanimous. This is the most Canadian podcast we could get because everyone's agreeing with each other. We're all on board. But let's share. So Paul, you were the first to respond. Why don't you hop in?
But so so CrossFit's meant to be 3 days on, 1 day off. That's the way the programming goes. For a membership in the United States, when I first started, it was $135 unlimited membership. People have other stuff to do. I have people that are, triathletes, marathon runners, swimmers, ultimate frisbee, you name it. And they're not going to come in, 3 days on, 1 day off. They're not going to come in 5 days on, take the weekends off. They're fitting everything in. So we have a 10 class pack. We have 2 days, 3 days are unlimited. So if someone's coming into the gym and I just want them to get in, 3 days a week is where I try to get them to join, knowing that Monday, Wednesday, Friday, they're going to have a gap between their workouts. So they're not going to feel so beat up that they're not going to come in again, with the idea that at some point they're going to go to an unlimited membership. And that just seems to work best for us. And it has nothing to do with buy-in. I think that you want buy-in to your members. It's being a part of the community and doing community things. Like, does golf have anything to do with membership? No, but we have run an annual golf tournament. Last Friday, we had our annual beer mile. Does the beer mile have anything to do with fitness? It has to do with community. So that buy-in is on the community aspect. That's where we go for, is we want people to be a part of the community. And if that means they're coming twice a week, so be it. If that means they're coming 3 times or every day, that's fine too.
I'll give a hot take. I think punch cards are stupid. I hate them. I think they're ridiculous. They should be banned from all gyms.
We
Like
gotta delete this whole thing
or-
now.
or
He just swore.
Hmm?
We're gonna delete the whole podcast. He just said the F word.
I said half of it.
You're allowed 1. Everyone's allowed 1, so we get 5. Does everyone here have a unlimited option and then as well as limited options like twice a week or 3 times a week? Does everyone here have that option?
Yeah, we actually have we do have a punch pass. We don't promote it, and you don't get access to the programming if you're on it. But we actually have a 1 day a week pass as well, that I have people that like maybe they can only come in on the weekend. They're just that busy. They can only get in 1 day a week, but they get access to the programming for the full week. So we have one girl, Krista, who actually, I haven't seen her in the gym in over a year. She still pays for 1 day a week. She gets the programming. She gets the sugar watch. She logs her scores. I have 2 other guys actually that are doing this now too, that are cops that have been transferred elsewhere. So they're still part of the community. The odd time when they're in town, they have some membership built up. They can get in for those 1 day a weeks. Ours is 1 day a week, but it's actually 5 sessions in a month. So we do 5, 10, and unlimited. So they could come 5 days in a row 1 week. It gives people flexibility too in the summer, especially. So I've got people that go away to the cabin. We don't put them on contracts. They don't have a renewal, but I tell people you might start coming 2 days a week at first, and you're going to realize like, oh, wow, it doesn't take 3 hours to go to the gym. I'm in and out in an hour. If I want to be, I can actually get to the gym 4 or 5 days a week. And I'm not leaving my spouse at home from when I get off work until 9 o'clock at night because I'm going to the Global and parking and trying to find a bench and trying to waste all this time. But but it just keeps people. You get the cabin, right? So you come for the first 5 days of July, and then you're gone to the cabin for the rest of the month, and you're following the programming. You're still part of the community. You're still there. And like Paul said, I've got people that do other things, right? So they're marathon runners. It's their soccer season, and they've got practice 2 nights a week and soccer on the weekend. I'd rather them get in 2 times a week than no times a week, because they can't afford to pay for a full unlimited membership and not use it, right?
For sure. Chris, how do you guys do it?
We do mostly unlimited. We don't do class passes. We do drop-ins just because they don't essentially expire anymore, right? By law, I forget how many years ago they changed that law. But people have online, they can book classes whenever they want. So I have people who come in. Like I had a guy who was a cop, same thing, can't come very often, came in, did a drop-in today. I have people who come in once a week, do drop-ins. We do have a 2 times a week. We don't overly promote it, but we do have it when we find that people that are like, believe it or not, Chris, I'm sorry to tell you, but CrossFit is not my number one thing. I am a triathlete. I am a this, I am that. I'm traveling, and it's either like X amount of times a week or I'm not coming at all, right? So, you find a way to make it work.
So I have a twice a week as well. I have tried so many times to phase that out. Like, I'm not going to say no, because I've seen how it's kept people in the gym. Like, it's kept some of my members consistently twice a week for years. But for any new folks, I try to phase it out. Has anyone done that? And then otherwise, if not, how do you start to encourage people to come more?
So we got rid of our weekly options, and kind of like Nate talked about, it's more of a month option. So we have an 8 times a month option, which is roughly twice a week. They can spread that out throughout the month as needed. So if they're away on vacation, no problem. You're not missing anything for that week, because you can just make it up before or after. Mm-hmm. The way we get people to upgrade from that 8 times is we made a attendance, like a committed club. And you have to come at least 12 times to make that. So we've actually had people, they get to their 8 classes and they're like, oh crap, I'm never going to get into the committed club and earn that coveted sticker. And so they upgrade to the unlimited. That's it. We have 2 options, 8 times a month, unlimited. That's it. So
the 5 and the 10 that we do works out to just more than 1 time a week, or just more than 2 times a week, like you said. And so that person who does the 10, in order to get the 10th one in, they have to come 3 times 1 week. And so after doing that a couple times, it's like, hey, I mean, your schedule allowed you to come 3 times that 1 week. Why couldn't you come 3 times every week? Well, yeah, you're right, I can. Well, if you're going to come 3 times a week, that's unlimited membership. You might as well start coming 4 or 5 times a week, whether you're just slipping in an open gym on a Sunday or coming to the partner one on a Saturday. It kind of like leads them to it. And then, like I said before, I try to explain to people, because like, well, I can only go to the gym 2 days a week. And like I said, you get off work and you don't get home till 9 o'clock at night because the gym takes forever. I try to tell people you can get in and out in an hour. So it might be 5:30 in the morning, might be you drop your kids off at school, you get your workout in, now you still get your grocery shopping in. It might be right after work, 5 to 6 class, and you're home by 6:15 if you want. Your family's gonna find out like, oh wow, dad is way better off when he goes to the gym on that day. And he goes to the gym 4 days a week now, but he's not at the gym for 2.5 hours every time he goes, right? He's just in and out, gets his workout in, and people, sometimes that's their mindset. I can only go to the gym 2 days a week because it takes me 3 hours. I don't want to be away from my family. It's why I don't golf. Like, I love my family. I love my wife. And I used to joke that I don't want to spend $150 to be away from my family for 6 hours and be frustrated the whole time. But I know a lot of guys do want that. They want to spend that money and they want to be away from their family. I don't. I love my family. And so I just couldn't justify the money for the time. But if golf was an hour long, I'd probably do it often.
And just play 1 hole.
Yeah. Well, what I do is I go to like the executive down the road here, which is like 11 holes at like 11 in the morning when no one else is there on a somewhat rainy day. And I almost, as a weirdo, I do the same thing with disc golf. I can kind of run the course almost. Walk fast. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, like, and you know what's interesting is, so when new folks, we don't put it. I don't publish our twice a week, which is I do 8 and 12 times a month. We just call it those. So, and it always leads to the same question though from new folks. So if I don't use the 8, can I carry them over to the next month? And the obvious answer is no. But in my head, there's the little guy saying, you couldn't come 8 times that month. You're going to try to come 10 the following. But same as Kevin, our committed club, you have to do 3 times a week or unlimited to get the sticker. You only get the big prize of a personalized Yeti if you do unlimited. But the membership options have allowed us to, when folks are saying, hey, I'm going away for 2 weeks, can I put my membership on hold? It's like, yes, of course you can, but technically you can come Monday to Saturday for 2 of those weeks. And so if you just downgrade for the month of August to 3 times a week, then you just use up your classes that way. And they go, oh, I didn't think about that. Mm-hmm. And so it gets them kind of, instead of putting on holds, they make the most of the time they have, changing their schedule slightly, knowing that they're going on vacation, and then right back into the routine from there.
Yeah, and then you're making $150 or whatever it is instead of 0, and you can sell it to them like, hey, you know what? You're going away. You could save $50 but just by downgrading for the month, and then next month you can upgrade right back to the normal and get back in. And like I said, if they change their schedule and they get in 4 or 5 times those 2 weeks when they usually only come 2 or 3 times, you're like, hey, you were able to do it those few weeks. Like, why can't we do that all the time? Maybe.
Yeah, we do a fitness gift and a free summer upgrade, and each one is just, you can qualify. You just have to, we put it out there and say, hey, if you want to upgrade for free for the next month, you just tell us when. And even this summer, it's worked beautifully. I think no one who actually signed up for it has attended more than what they would, but it got them thinking, oh, geez, I'll go more instead of going on hold, which has kept them the same instead of going on hold. So it's been a huge benefit. So that's why I think the sorry, Kevin, I didn't mean to get anyone upset. The limited or the checkpoint style pay-per-use memberships do create a little different opportunity than others. I know a couple folks said it already, but does anyone still do like length of term discounts? So if you sign up for the year, you get a discount. If you sign up for 6 months, you get a discount. Does anyone still do that? Paul's got an emphatic head shake no. When did you stop doing that, Paul?
COVID.
Pardon?
COVID.
Okay.
Yeah, as soon as COVID happened, we gave it a chance to readjust everything and really look at our numbers. So we got rid of that. We did bring in a referral. So if you bring in a person to the gym, as long as they actually get a membership, as long as they're a member of the gym, we'll take $10 off your membership. And so let's say someone joins the gym and they're due 2 times a week, and they manage to coerce 13 of their friends to join the gym. They will get their membership for free, and we'll upgrade them to the next level up in membership. And it's worked really well, because then all of a sudden you start getting, 3 or 4 people that are like-minded, that are friends, already a part of a community already, joining our community. And so that's worked really well for us. But yeah, no, we don't give it. Firefighters, military, police, we don't give anybody. The only people we give discounts to is if you're under 18. We have a flat rate, unlimited membership for $100 a month.
Yeah, we did away with all our discounts too, and it helps in the sales pitch of like, I want my coaches to give everyone the same level of service. I want everybody who comes here to know that they're getting the same level of service and quality every time. If you've got a spouse and you both want to come to the gym, and the other guy his spouse doesn't want to come, or he doesn't have a spouse, why do they get a different rate than you? They're getting the same service for the same number of sessions and all that. Why would they get a different price just because of their situation? And then with the personal or the emergency services, we still wanted to acknowledge them. So what we do is we actually do a 15% donation, and we rotate that quarterly, but everybody pays the same amount. I just take 15% of each of those memberships and I donate it to Honor House or to the ambulance system or whatever, so that I'm acknowledging them, but they're still paying the same amount for the same service. And what it did actually was it saved a lot of arguments too, because people would come in and say like, I should qualify for emergency services. And I'm like, okay, well, what do you do? Well, I work for the dispatch or this or that, whatever. And I truly appreciate it. If they want to say that now, I'll donate 15%. I don't mind making a bigger donation. But it was hard to like say who qualifies, who doesn't. I'm active military, I'm former military, I'm a dispatcher, I'm a nurse, I'm on the truck. Like my old saying was, if something happens to me and you're gonna lay hands on me, I want you to be fitter. So that was kind of my level of discount. Now, if you tell me you're a dispatcher, I'm not even going to ask you for certification. I'll just donate 15% more. I don't mind. It's okay.
Very cool. So that takes us to there. So I think sorry, that was my phone here. Of course, my battery's going dead, so I'm trying to plug it in. True affiliate ownership life as we're bootstrapping things here. While as agreeable as we all were, like that is the cool part about the open source model is just you got to have some metrics, just like your fitness. You just got to have some metrics to see if it works, and that's been the kind of underpinning behind everyone doing things a little differently. As if you notice, everyone mentioned like, hey, we sat down and we compared it to this, or we thought about this and put some intention behind it. For maybe some newer affiliate owners or coaches listening to this and like they want to make a change or are nervous to do so, what's some advice you guys would offer just in regards to having the freedom to do whatever you want in your businesses?
As long as they're doing it for a reason, like there's a purpose behind it and that it's backed by data. If you're just doing it because, oh, I heard so-and-so's gym does it this way, that's a terrible reason for you to do it. So have a purpose and back it with data. If you're not tracking it, then you have no idea if it's working or not. It could be working for you or against you. Without the data, you don't know.
You need to have data, and you have to realize that if you don't like change, you'll hate irrelevance. You need to adapt, like everybody did during COVID. It was hard, but everybody did it, and so that kind of, I think, made people a little bit more resilient in that way. And sometimes you just have to do hard things. But like Kevin was saying, if you have your data, you just got to figure out how you're going to implement it and make the change.
Just so that we have once at least, just to disagree. Not everybody changed during COVID, but those guys aren't still around. Right?
They're not on this call.
Yeah. Yeah, they're on a different podcast this week.
I think they changed their Instagram to all golf.
Yeah, or it was XFit or whatever, right?
Yeah.
There is a gentleman who's very vocal. I'm not going to call him out, but who's trying to unite affiliate owners to take things back. Anyway, I saw that he's de-affiliated and he just turned his C into an O on his gym wall. And so that way he got away with not having the CrossFit. It's just Orosfit. I don't know what it would even be.
Sounds like an OnlyFans thing. I don't know.
I don't get it. Like I talk to people all the time, the people that went to change their name to Community Fit and everything else like that, and I go like,
no, yeah,
it doesn't make sense to me, and I try to encourage everybody to come back into the fold, because if you look at what CrossFit's done, and I'm sure, like I know Kevin, you've traveled a lot, same thing with you, Chris, but I've gone all over the world. I've been to the Middle East, I've been all through the United States, all through Europe, South America. You walk into a CrossFit gym, no matter what language you speak, I do CrossFit, and the words may be different, but the numbers and the name of the workouts are up on the board, and they're all the same, and everybody wants to work out, and it's like you're talking to a long lost cousin. And so I don't know why anybody would want to leave that community.
Mm-hmm.
Jocelyn said at the Banff Summit when we were on a hike that she doesn't allow drop-ins from community fitness or functional fitness gyms. She just doesn't allow them. And that's the beauty. Everyone's like, okay, yeah, but that's the beauty of the open source model. So I think I encourage anyone listening, like, hey, go do a drop-in, go visit Paul, go see all his toys, go to the West Coast and see Nate, go to the East Coast and see Kevin, go to Markham and Woodbridge to see the Cristinis. Like, come up north to Aurelia, although I don't know why you would. No, it's a lovely place. Drop in anytime. But that's the beauty of it, is whether it's the whiteboard, memberships, or programming, each place is going to be a little different, but we all speak that same common language. And on that note, 3, 2, 1, time.